2, 1.
Welcome to the podcast that buffs your Hearthstone game. This is Velen's Chosen.
Not all who wander are lost.
Greetings, visionaries. Welcome to Velen Chosen. Welcome to your competitive player and arena specialist deck building visionary. Just like having a bit of fun, we can help you buff your game and achieve your Hearthstone goals. What's up, everybody? This is episode 138.
Hey.
We got the Canadian Eve. We got all the way over in Texas. Blaze it, Grant. We also have Jamie whipping out some arrows, being a Deathstalker Rexar on the stream. Yes, that's right. Jamie is with us this week. Jamie, welcome to the show.
Oh, hi, you betcha.
He's also known by
Hey.
Pseudo Ping in the
Holy
Discord.
hockey hosers, hey.
Holy hockey hosers, yeah. And I am going to be basically on cat herding duty this week with these three clowns, talking about Hearthstone and other things.
Hey, don't count me among the clowns. I didn't do anything. I just showed up here.
I just showed up. I'm here
Barely.
for the lore reading.
Oh,
This is gonna
now
be a
you have an
spicy show, you
ivory
guys.
tower.
Shots
Look at me,
fired.
lore master,
Wow.
floating in the ivory tower. Oh,
We are starting off on the right note. My name's Rob. I'm coming in from Japan. Let's get into the show. If you had this episode on and you're not a regular listener, I sometimes do the intro at light speed. But basically, if you're new here, I did the reason I'm doing this, for starters, for Grant and Eve and Jamie, who don't know, I guested on a streamer that normally does Overwatch last night for a dungeon run, and he's going to be posting that to YouTube soon. So there's
Sweet.
about 100 people live, and we got about 3 new followers last night. So we're a Hearthstone
Always
podcast. We help people buff their game. We talk about Hearthstone. We talk about some teaching and like how to play things and what things are good and like theory craft things together. We also have a little bit of fun, and we emphasize Hearthstone lore connections with Warcraft. So we talk about all of those things on our show. But without further ado, for those people who are unengaged, Jamie, who are you and what you doing here on the show? Here, there, and everywhere.
Oi, I'm just a regular Hearthstone player. That's it. I'm no pro. I'm no mega ultra superstar. I'm just the guy that plays Hunter on the ladder that loves to make decks for y'all.
So Jamie's been with us for a long time. Eve and I met Jamie way back before Velen's even existed. Eve, you want to talk about how that kind of shook out? I've been talking good a chunk.
With the Google Hangouts?
Yeah.
Yeah, we well, that's the first time that I got into like a social Hearthstone that I found people to play with and to make friends with, and started actually adding people to my friends list for the first time. Is there was this Google Hangouts, and they would leave the address for it on Reddit, and everyone would be kind of like in a chat, and we'd play random decks against each other and like make weird rules. If you had to put this card in and this card in, and then the rest would all be random, and just had a ton of fun and met a ton of fun people, including Jamie. And yeah, so he's been a long time supporter of the show.
Yeah.
And we
absolutely.
really appreciate the heck out of him.
oh heck yeah.
So he's a
as a-
superstar to us, even if he's not
Yeah.
a pro.
Oh, you.
So this is Jamie's third time on the show, if you guys are, again, new. But Jamie typically shows up, and we talk about some really interesting things about Hearthstone. It's a little bit different than your typical thing. Jamie knows that I'm kind of more of the Timmy of the group, so him and I usually dialogue quite a bit in the Discord about doing some fun stuff with Hearthstone, and Jamie's discussion usually is like, but what if we could do this in Hunter? So pretty much, if something can be done, he wants to do it in Hunter, if at all possible. So let's get into some news. First and foremost, I'm not going to play the bumper in the live stream, but you'll hear it here in the post. So first up, we have the Tavern Brawl. Grant, what's the Tavern Brawl this week?
Oh, Raven Idols. It's actually a pretty fun brawl in the terms of like, you get a Raven Idol every turn.
You take a
it's a
map
1-cost
for your
spell that
monster.
allows you to either pick a minion or a spell. And it's It's fun, but the problem is it takes forever. It is the long, in the words of the comic book guy from The Simpsons, longest brawl ever. So, but it's cool. I did my one and I was done. Nothing special in the packs, but it's always interesting with these particular brawls because when you have new cards, you have new things to pick from. So it can kind of swing the game differently than if back in the day when you were playing, Explorers and playing that with when Raven Idol came out. So, but did you guys play it yet?
Yes.
I had a couple of really lucky games. I chose Mage because I had some quests to fill out, and I got Flame Waker, which is just sick. And then I got Arcane Giants, which is also gets
Easy
cheaper the
peasy.
more spells you have played throughout the game. So that was practically free. And then I got the Mage one that makes all cards in your hand that you didn't start with in the game cheaper by 2 mana. Do you remember the name of that card? I'm not good with names.
Yeah,
Like its
it's
battle cry is make all cards in your hand that you didn't start with in your deck 2 cheaper.
Leyline
Oh, yeah,
Manipulator?
Yeah, Leyline Manipulator. And guess what? It did it to all of the Raven Idols.
even though they started in the deck.
Yes.
Oh, because they're not mage cards. That's probably what it is.
Ah, that makes sense. I was wondering if that was a bug, but that makes
Well,
a
it
lot
is
of sense.
It is a bug in a way. It's probably not what they intended, but they're probably like, Tavern Brawl,
Tavern
not going to
Brawl.
fix it.
Yeah.
Yeah, who cares?
The
And
code
in
doesn't
that
need to be
same
reworked.
game, it also, because I put Leyline Manipulator out, it made my Yogg Saron in my hand 2 mana cheaper.
Ooh.
Oh, fun.
And I'm thinking, I've been playing spells all game. This is going to be the most amazing ever. And I drop Yogg, and he plays the very first card is Mulch and kills himself. And
Balance.
That
that was
is-
such a wah wah moment, just like
Womp womp.
where you're expressing. You're expecting the most amazing like chain of spells to go on forever, and the very first one he casts kills himself.
Mm.
That's when I wish we had unnerfed Yogg now that he's back in Wild.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think the Wild people would care if they unnerfed him?
You're not getting to turn 10.
Not with
Yeah.
his current meta, no.
No,
Yeah,
Wild's
point
super
there.
fast. Yeah.
Well-
no, I hope they unnerf it one day because that was just too much fun to watch, like the litany of spells just go off and like what's gonna happen. And I missed that. But
We have to cover some bad news though this week, guys. The big
Yes.
bad news. I'm gonna give it to our guest, Jamie. What's going on this week?
Our resident flannel has left Blizzard. Ben Brode's gone, boys.
the Broad is gone.
I was honestly really shocked. I was really stunned. I did not see that coming, and it sort of hit me for a little bit, where I think I and a lot of the community were like, is this going to affect Hearthstone in a big way? Is this going to change how fun it is or how well done it is? Or like, because he is such a big face of Hearthstone. He's like the human embodiment of the fun of Hearthstone. His laugh and his energy, and
Bro 9.
it just really
Streams.
took me out at the knees. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's true because all the other devs are real, like just like even keel people. They're just they're real chill and stuff like that. I actually worried that I'm like, oh man, I mean, is the fun aspect of Hearthstone is a aspect of the soul of the game just going to evaporate with his absence?
Yeah.
But then I remembered something, and I remembered that a lot of Blizzard like sense of humor that is in Hearthstone, it didn't start with Ben Brode. You know what I mean? I think Ben Brode worked at Blizzard because the company values that type of spirit. So I think that looking at the history of Blizzard games going back quite a ways now, I think it'll be okay. But
Yeah.
it's hard to think that because you're not going to have the Bro 9 streams where you can have Disguised Coast like excerpting the 7 or 8 minutes of complete laughter that is those streams. You know what I mean? Like just unstopped, uncut. So
to kind of
Yeah.
piggyback on what you said there, Grant, if anything is true, it's that the leader isn't the team, but the
Mhm.
team isn't anything without a leader. So like Brode's leadership is felt within the entire ideas operation and logistics and planning and organizing and motivating for the team. And
Yeah.
if anything, the community doesn't really understand how much of any emotion you could be feeling about the Hearthstone team, they're feeling it more than we are, because they're going to have to have a leader step into the shoes of somebody as big as Ben and put on somebody as like the persona as well as the large flannel broad shoulders that he fills. Like, they're going to have to do that. And they're also going to have to lead the team and hopefully inspired by his direction and try to basically dawn a new direction, but also the same direction at the same time, so players are happy. There's a very interesting dynamic there that when you change hands with leadership, it's going to be very different. But
Like,
with
still
any Blizzard
Hearthstone,
franchise, it's still
but a
the
different
game.
leader.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, and another thing people have to remember is you really won't feel it for a couple sets still, because I'm pretty sure because of how far in advance they worked on stuff, I'm pretty sure that at least for 2 more sets, you're going to still get a lot of the, I'm going to just call it the Ben Brode flavor, whatever that actually is. So it really won't be perceived except for maybe in like releases and para content, you know, like him getting on and like reading tweets or doing reveal streams with people and whatnot.
But there's still
the
plenty
next
of people
two are going to
there.
be full of Ben Brode flavor, like whatever he added to it, because they're already in the process of like testing not the next one, but the next one after that. They're like in the process of doing the
well, and you know, if he left on
balance testing.
if he actually left on good terms with the company, it's
He
not
has.
it's and if so let's just say he has.
Yeah.
It's not out of the bounds of possibility to where they could say they could guest him as a personality. You know what I mean? Because if they're all friends and stuff, they could say, "Hey, would you come on a reveal stream and just like talk about it and stuff like that?" It's more like not necessarily as I'm the designer and I'm going to give you insights, but like I want to just let's be surprised together and laugh and joke and have a good time together. So that's certainly within the bounds of possibility, but I don't know. We'll see.
It's
we'll see
funny
what
you
happens.
say that, because the exact same thing happened to World of Warcraft. There was a guy called Ghostcrawler who was like the Ben Brode of World of Warcraft. And when he left to work at Rob, was it Riot for League of Legends?
League of Legends, yeah.
Yeah. Everyone was like, oh my gosh, what is life going to be like without this guy? Because he was such a big personality in the community, constantly talking to people, communicating with people about balance changes, everything that had to do with World of Warcraft. And so when he left, it was like, what are we going to do? What's it going to be from now on? And people still ask him questions about World of Warcraft, even though he works at Riot on League of Legends.
Well, didn't Chris Metzen kind of come back and do some stuff with Blizzard, even though he doesn't work with them, technically not work for them anymore?
No,
He
as
still
far as
voices
I know,
Bastion.
as far as I know, he's very low key. Like when he goes to BlizzCon, he's incognito and just kind of stays out of
He's
things
very
for
hidden.
now. Yeah.
Interesting.
It may take a while for him to want to have anything to do with it for a while, and I'm glad he's resting, but it's a completely different thing with Ben Brode. Like, it seems to me that he got to a point where he wasn't able to do the things he loved anymore. Like, if you get to the managerial point, you're organizing things so much and you're not actually in there creating and making, and that's what he missed.
Right.
Like, it's cool when you get to the position where you're like the top guy, but when you can't do the thing you love anymore, and now he's going to take this opportunity to create his own business, to create his own company and make his own games. Like, that's amazing.
So
Yeah.
what I'll do is I'm going to read the very end of this, and then I'll have Jamie comment, and we can kind of move on from there because we got a lot of ground to cover this week.
Okay.
He says, I get too much credit. Again, this is at the end. I get too much credit by virtue of being a public face, but the 80-plus people working in the development team are still there. And they're the ones actually making the cards, the brawls, the events, the missions, and the features. I'm confident this game is in the best possible hands and excited to see where a new generation of leaders takes Hearthstone from here. I'm very fortunate to be able to take a crazy risk right now in my life, and I'm excited to be scrappy and a little scared. I'm going to help start a new company. We'll probably make games, but we haven't figured anything else out yet. I'm looking forward to designing, programming, and actually creating things again. I'm going to miss the on-campus Starbucks, though. Dang. Blizzard, thank you for taking a chance on me, and thank you for taking a chance on Hearthstone. I can't wait to see what you do next, and to the passionate community of players, I will miss you and the laughs we shared together. Thank you for making a big part. Thank you for making being a part of Hearthstone so much fun for me. I've loved every minute. Sincerely, Ben Brode. This is 10 years on Hearthstone and 15 on Blizzard.
That's a long time.
And for you guys that are unengaged, Hearthstone hasn't been around for 10 years. So that means that's a lot of back-end work and a lot of secret service type.
Yeah, he said he started with
Yeah.
playtesting. Like, that's how he got into Blizzard, was playtesting. So
My
started
first
with
role
that.
was Night Crew Game Tester.
Yeah, and
Jamie.
I think it's really important that we focus on that. There's the 80 plus people still back there. A lot of Hearthstone is a lot of, like, you can tell it's a lot of inside jokes within the World of Warcraft and even within the design team. So it's important to remember that we still have Young Woo, we still have Dave Kosak, we have all these people still over at Hearthstone team there. So it's not like Hearthstone's going to lose its flavor, but it is going to lose the flannel.
You guys want to know who else is there?
Well
Good one.
put.
Nice.
You want to know who else is there as one of our own? Alec
Yeah.
is there. And
That's
Alec
true.
is working. And he, if we didn't know that he did a Hearthstone podcast and did all of these community things, there are people like Alex representing one person of 80 on that team. And they are extremely hard workers, testers, developers, creators, artists. And we got Mike Dene and Dave Kosak. And let me tell you, Kosak has been killing it in the videos lately. Just in this event, like his presence in the team, Kosak might actually have just enough of the same energy in both style and in volume as Ben Brode. So they're in good hands. And if there's anything we've learned in Velen's Chosen, it's that when one leaves, another rises, because we've got Grant here as living proof just that something can be great and still be yet the same and also different at the same time, and it be good. So just keep that in
Race
mind.
change.
And also, Ben Brode might be just the next Happy Hearthstone as far as flavor and example is concerned, if that makes sense. You never know what Ben Brode's capable of. I mean, he's been working in Hearthstone for, 10 years.
Long time.
Were you talking about Chalky when you said Alex?
No, Alec Dawson works for Blizzard now.
Alec Dawson. He used to be on the Golden Wisp with Hunter.
Yeah, he
Oh,
had to
okay,
get
okay.
he had to get off it because there's that conflict of interest thing.
Right.
But yeah, I
But
miss.
speaking
Golden
of
Wisp,
Chalky,
incidentally.
Grant, you want to, or Eve, you want to cover that?
Chalky has been hired by Blizzard. He's now a game dev.
Yep.
So he announced that on Twitter. It
No more
just seems like
competitions.
they're pulling a lot of people, a lot of very passionate people out of the community
Mm-hmm.
and inviting them to work at Blizzard. So if you ever dreamed at working at Blizzard, you might have a chance.
Yeah.
A lot of hard work, though. Make sure you put in that hard work.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Wasn't the position for final design too? It's not like he's creating the cars. It's making sure that when they enter the game, they are balanced and usable.
And that kind of position in Hearthstone especially will get you a lot of heat.
Also,
Well, that's a good
last-
spot
You're the
for him,
first
though.
person blamed when things go wrong. How could you not see this interaction? How didn't you know this was going to be broken?
I have to say this about Chalky. If he isn't helping you guys with flavor text, that is a missed opportunity. That dude is the meme king.
I'm sure they get it from all over the Hearthstone team. Ideas for like fun things for the
Yeah,
cards.
yeah.
Mhm.
Also, this is
Sure,
not in
it's
our
a
show
joint
notes,
effort.
but you think you can cast results are in for 2018. We have 4 new casters. We have 7. We have Nicholas Bills, which goes by Dollar Bills as his game. We also have
Nice.
Cole Anderson, who is Will Scarlet on Twitter and a fairly
Oh.
well-known professional player at DreamHacks and
Yeah.
whatnot.
Yeah.
And then we have Jace Garthright, who is Dr. J. Dr.
Dr.
Jickinicki is now a
Jickinicki,
caster.
Yeah. Cool.
And,
yeah, I'm not
uh,
surprised by that at all. Actually, cool.
And it looks like Will Scarlet and Dr. J did their co-casting together for this, and there is a sample of their submission VODs on the link in the description, which I'll put in chat now. But you guys can log it for later. But congratulations to these new guys. I know there's a lot of people submitting things, including Cinder and Appa of Coin Concede. I also think that Midgame did one with
Didn't Blister Guy do one too?
Blister Guy did one. I can't remember who did it with Midgame. I apologize, I can't remember who it is, but I'm gonna get crucified in the comments section on YouTube if they find their way over there. But don't worry about it. You guys are great.
Don't worry
and
about it. Eh?
Forget about it. You can keep your casting.
Forget
Just
about
do some
it.
UHL. Okay.
Hey, speaking of UHL, can I stick that in Hearthstone
Let's
news?
talk about that.
I had my game on Wednesday with Ridiculous Hat. We had a little bit of a mix-up because we're in different time zones, and so when we agreed on what the time was we were going to play, it was like I thought it was my time and he thought it was his time, so he shows up at like 9:30 my time and he's like, "Okay, are we ready to go?" And I was like, "What? I thought it was going to be at 12:30." So we had a little bit of a mix-up, but we
Whoops.
made it work, and I lost, but I managed to win one game against the reigning champ of UHL, so I feel okay about that. My one game that I won was with Jabberwocky Shaman.
Shatterwalk.
Yeah, so that was...
That was also the deck that Eve and I tested the most of all of her stuff. So we're like, damn it, Eve, you're going to win with at least this deck.
I remember you saying, like, you're going to win with this deck. If all
Yep.
else fails, you will win here.
Yep.
It was the one I was the most comfortable with and the most
Yeah.
happy with, and yeah, I managed to use it and pull out a win, so I'm happy about that.
Chat.
I
Okay.
am nervous.
Chat Eve is
What?
like, Schwal says, he also rolled you like crazy. Well, you're not wrong. He did play Spiteful.
It's true.
Listen,
True.
the Paladin versus Warrior game was pretty close. I
Yeah.
think that I misplayed a little bit. There were some things I wish I had done differently, but that one was pretty decent. Then I played Druid against his Shaman, and he got Sea Giants pretty quick, so that was... I got nothing. I had nothing in my hand. I was pulling nothing at all, so that was over pretty quickly. And then he got Flappy Bird. Flappy Bird
It was
immediately, and then Whirlwind immediately. I'm not gonna cop out and say that I was high rolled, because that's the way it works, right? If you
That's- yeah.
make a deck and you get the cards you need, like, that's what you're supposed to do. That's why you
Right.
build the deck the way that you do. You want to get these cards and play them and win. But yeah, it was brutal. It
Well,
was-
as a side note, it's really healthy to be able to look at a game and say, one, this deck is designed to do what just happened. That's
Yeah.
that way it's bit. And two, you can say, while this doesn't happen every time, I can't be mad about it because it was intentionally designed and it just happened to work this time to perfection. So if
Now-
you can do that, you'll be a lot happier as a player. So
Now, Jamie, do you have any questions like from the outside of like preparations for Eve, like questions that you might have or anything like that for the UHL? 'Cause I don't know if you've been able to monitor this pretty closely or not.
I haven't been able to monitor it very closely. A lot of my work gets in the way of viewing
Yeah.
anything Hearthstone throughout the
Sure.
day. But honestly, how much pre-testing for the deck do you do? Because I only do like 10 games myself, and that's maybe why I lose. But how much did you test that Shutterwalk Shaman?
Well, the Shadowwalk Shaman I chose because I started playing it as the very first deck, like when the new expansion hit, and I was like, what am I going to play? And I played that, like the heck out of it. Played like over 50 games with it. So I felt like I knew really well how it worked, and I just didn't care what the matchup was, because it was just kind of, I knew this deck so well that no matter what I came up against, I thought that I'd do well. Because all you have to do is get the combo, and it doesn't matter what you're facing, you're going to win. So that one was fine. The other two, though, like, I felt like Spiteful Druid was really draw dependent. It didn't have like any board clear. It didn't have like any life, regeneration, except for like armoring up. And like, you have to get your Spitefuls out and have some kind of early game to sustain you till then, or it's kind of a, you draw well and you win, or you draw badly and you lose.
mhm.
So that one was kind of rough. My 2 Druid games, I didn't draw. I didn't get anything to answer what he was. And that's the thing with the tournament. I felt I did badly was choosing which decks to play. I felt less confident about my Paladin deck because I had played it the least.
Mhm.
But I think it probably would have done better against his Shaman and probably better against his Druid because it had an early game. So maybe the mistake that I made was playing the wrong deck or bringing the wrong deck.
There's
I think a
things
lot
that-
of people.
Oh no, go ahead, Jamie. Sorry.
Sorry. I think a lot of people underestimate just how much testing people have to do for these decks when they go into a tournament. Because it's like, oh, like me, I'll play my 10 games and be like, oh, I get it, and then go into the tournament and lose with those decks. But the Hunter deck, I'm like, okay, you're dead. But yeah, it's just it's knowing a lot about what your deck does and a lot about what the other decks can do. I know there's a lot of tournament meta behind a lot of cards too. Like you'll see cards in tournaments that you don't see on ladder. So
because they're specifically teching against what they think the other person has.
yeah, so it's a lot of knowing what'll happen when you do something. Like your Spiteful. Spiteful, I predicted Spiteful was going to be really nasty after the rotation just because 10 mana creatures are really strong right now.
There's
And
only 4 of
Ultimate
them.
Infestation was being played.
Well, the,
Like, you
the
get
only problem
Tyrantus,
is
it's
none of them
ridiculous.
have taunt. Like, if there was at least one of those 10 mana things that you get out that had taunt, that would be really helpful at this point
Yeah.
against aggro. But
From what I understand, that Druid deck is a lot of like, you want to get your Greedy Sprite out, you want to get to that 6 mana as fast as possible, but those cards do not offer taunt.
yeah,
Mhm.
Yep. There's also
Yeah.
you
something
don't have an
that to
option
be
to
said
stave off death.
when we were preparing with Eve. I know that she had a lot of questions and we were trying to like lock in some things. We had a couple issues with what we were looking at. We were looking at both what classes to pick and then what decks to pick. And then we also looked at what is he playing class-wise and what do we think the deck that he's playing for each class is going to be, because we whiffed really hard on what we predicted the Warrior deck was going to be, didn't we, Eve?
Yeah, we thought the Warrior was going to be the tower, like, big
Yeah. You
recruit
guys
warrior.
definitely we whipped on that one.
I was completely wrong. He brought, like,
Yeah.
a rush. And the problem with being, like, the first set of the gate is there's so many decks out there.
Mhm.
And you have no idea which the other person's going to bring. And they're completely different from each other, so you can't really plan to play a certain way against a certain deck if you have no idea what it is.
Not to mention
Like,
it's
at
a
least
fun
if
league
you're...
and not like a tournament league, you know what I mean?
Yeah. If you're a couple of weeks in or maybe a month in, then there's like an understood meta. People know what class you're bringing. It's probably going to be this deck or this deck, you know? And it's a little bit easier to plan which deck you play first and which deck you play second and which one is good against this matchup and stuff like that. But if it's like the first week, you're just flying blind. You have
Right.
no idea what's going to be good against what and which one they're bringing. So I felt kind of stressed like the whole week. I felt like I didn't know what I was doing and I was flying by the seat of my pants. And yeah, it was an experience for sure.
So who's next?
Versika.
Versika from
I'm up against
Hero
a
Power,
Versika
yeah?
next.
Hero Power, yeah.
Yeah, that's my next matchup. I've
That's cool.
already used Paladin, Druid, and Shaman, so I cannot use those classes again. I'm gonna have to choose 3 completely different ones out of the remaining 6.
Choose
I'm
Hunter.
not gonna say on the show which
Hunter.
ones I'm picking because that would give my
Hunter.
opponent an edge.
Well, there's only 6
But-
left, so
Yeah, it brings in a whole new metagame.
Yeah, and they
Mhm.
played different decks than I did their first time, so it's not like they're shut out of the same ones that I am.
right.
They have a different 6 to choose from. So
Third
So when
round
is
will
your
be
match? Do you
interesting.
know?
no,
guys
we have
schedule
to we have to talk to each other and figure out what times work for us. That's kind of how it works in the UHL. We figure out what time we can get together on our schedule, and then they try and get people to cast it. The one other thing I wanted to talk about was I now understand how many people have been asking for a tournament mode and why. Because honestly, before I was like, this is not a big deal for me. It's not a big ask. I don't really care when it comes to the game. But
Right.
now that I'm trying to prepare for a tournament, you can't do that playing on ladder. It's literally impossible. You have to find friends and ask them to specifically play specific decks against your decks. Otherwise, I could just play against, like Mage all day and Warlock all day on ladder, and I know for sure my opponent is not bringing either of those classes.
Mhm.
So every single game I play teaches me nothing.
True.
Or teaches you some information that you don't need. And the same
Yeah.
idea if you're going to go prepare for HCT and you're running a ban Warlock in the past meta, like most people would do, they ban a Warlock format, and you go to ladder, and guess what you're going to see? 90% of your games are
Warlock.
going to be Warlock. So doesn't matter. You actually
was
need
really
somebody to
lucky.
play specifically 1 to 3 different lists of like a control mage with variation of like 3 or 4 cards, and then you need to pilot that matchup like 50 games in a row and get yourself in the same matchup over and over and over and over and over again so you can prepare. That's how the pros do it.
Yeah.
So,
You need a friend. And Samurai Flea and Rob both helped me out. But then it's early meta days too, and maybe your partner doesn't have all the cards.
or they are not
Like, hey.
piloting the optimally, which was my case, I think.
Well,
lot of
I don't know
decks.
about that, but just like to say, can you try a Glass Knight against me? And they're like, I don't have a Glass Knight. There's no way I'm gonna craft that just to like test it against you.
And
Like,
that's where the new
you
thing
know?
comes in, Eve. What do we test for the first time?
Yes, but if neither of us has it, then we can't
Oh.
share the deck.
Yeah, but we had
And
the share
fight
deck
me, I'll have
feature.
it.
It was
Right.
sick though.
The share deck would be super helpful when you're like, do you have Glass Knight? Yeah, I got it. I don't have it. Can we make a deck together and like share it with each other and then we can practice it?
Full disclosure, Eve almost crafted the tower, guys, because she's like, this deck is fun.
Yeah.
Tower
Tower's sick.
the Gunspire dude is
Also,
super fun.
fun
Anyways.
fact, we found out too when I took Eve's deck that I didn't build before because I just borrowed it because we just needed to run it. If they earned a golden class on that card, you get to pilot it with the golden class and the golden cards that they have in it for
Oh,
some
nice.
fun. So
Yeah. That's
sweet.
Eve got to use my Dead Man's Hand golden for a golden tower recruit later in one of the games, and it was really cool.
And Rob got to use my golden shaman.
I was like, golden
hero
totems
power.
are so pretty. So, all right, guys, let's get into the deck discussion, shall we?
Yeah.
We're gonna kick it off to the next screen here. But this next deck, we're gonna do one deck with Grant and one deck with Jamie. But then we're gonna open the floor midway through and talk cards, inclusions, and deck theory crafting more with Jamie. Where with Grant is gonna be more of deck piloting. So let's get into Xiao's Hadronox Druid with Grant.
Yeah, so if you've been playing consistent Hearthstone over the last week, you'll know that the rise of the Taunt Druid has sort of kind of shown up. It's a little bit on the decline at the moment, but I still think it's a really strong deck, and I spent a lot of time playing this deck this week. It's super fun to play. At the moment, it's probably one of my top 2 or 3 decks that I think will maybe stand the test of time as when the meta levels out. Levels out. Is what I'm trying to say.
Lets out.
When the meta lets out and melts your faces. Anyways, basically, here's the list. It's Show's version. I made a minor modification to it, which I'll mention in a minute. But it has 2 Lesser Jasper Spellstones, 2 Naturalizes, 1 Doomsayer, 2 Wild Growth, 2 Tar Creepers, 2 Witching Hours, 2 Branching Paths, 2 Serenite Chain Gangs, Spirit Singer Umbra, 2 Swipe, 2 Carnivorous Cube, 2 Nourish, 2 Rotten Apple Bomb, 2 Primordial Drake, 1 Lich King, 1 Hadronox, 1 Master Oakheart, and 1 Ultimate Infestation. Just by the way, the list you'll see on the screen has a Malfurion, the Pestilent in it, which I subbed in because I just felt it made the deck more consistent and gave me a little extra staying power that I needed. That 1 extra Tar Creeper just did not provide. So that was my modification to it.
Is Witching Hour epic or
Rare.
It is a rare. So yeah.
Okay.
So basically, the gist of the deck is you want to survive, get to your late game, get out a Hadronox. Yeah, after having put out some kinds of taunts, because you're likely to do that. It's just the odds are very strong for that. Get it out, kill it, or cube it, and then kill the cube and just have Hadronox and taunt for days. It might seem, if you haven't played this deck, it's going to seem counterintuitive, but this deck just stops Warlock pretty much.
I feel like they're the same deck.
They do the same thing. They want to do the same thing. The difference is that you have way more value in this deck with Hadronox, because even if they silence it, you can cube it and then kill the cube and be right back where you started, or you can put out Spirit Singer Umbra and then play Witching Hour, and it brings the Hadronox back, and immediately it makes all the taunts come out of the Hadronox,
Now-
even though the Hadronox isn't dead.
So
Grant, you're running Malfurion, right?
Yeah.
Why?
Running Malfurion because sometimes I needed a little bit of extra armor to stay alive with, or sometimes I needed something to
But
have
that
those extra
defeats
taunts.
the purpose of the combo.
It It can a little bit, but I found it actually was fine because those extra taunts can buy me time. Sometimes I just needed a
But the
turn.
Witching Hour doesn't summon Hadronox anymore.
Well, that's right. They are beasts. I haven't had a problem with that as much, though. It hasn't been that big of a deal. Like, I usually save it for after I've kind of gotten going. And if I'm playing against a hunter or something like that. So it does, I can see your point in terms of like why it waters the pool down, but I haven't had that much issue with it. And maybe I'm just really, really lucky.
You're probably really lucky if you're winning.
I know I'm lucky, but I mean, it's one of those things that I made it as a meta choice because what I was playing was faster. So, you know what I mean?
You got to stay alive.
So
to
at
get
that
the combo.
point, would
If
you
you're
just
dead,
not
there's
need
no use
Witching
in-
Hours anymore? Because the Witching Hour seems like a meme now. If that's what you're gonna do, you maybe
Well,
just don't need them.
And in the faster decks, like say against Paladin, like all you need is one Hadronox. Because you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like one Hadronox is oftentimes enough, and if you cube it,
It's
whatever,
over.
you know what I mean? It's over. So it's one of those things that it might just be that I got really comfortable with the deck and I knew what to do. I mean, I certainly had games like there was one game I played. It made me laugh where bro cast Tink Master Overspark early in the game, turned one of my insignificant taunts into a squirrel. Late game, I'm like, Witching Hour, squirrel. Okay, Witching Hour again, squirrel again. Concede. 2/1/1s for 6 mana.
So like people are playing Tink Master and Polymorph and Hex.
Mhm.
Those cards
Hex,
destroy you.
yeah, the frogs. The
And
frogs are beasts too.
As a matter of play, the thing you're looking out for, like what Rob has brought out, is that if they can dilute or give them the chance of you not being able to pull a Hadronox out of that Witching Hour, that gives them hope or a chance to win. Otherwise, no chance. Unless you have extreme reach, like a mage might have extreme reach or
Now,
something.
to be fair, I piloted this deck for 4 games and only won 1 game. And I did not like this deck at all. It felt really bad for me. My pocket meta, I literally just got smashed running this deck. So this is not A, easy to play, and B, is not necessarily the style of play that I'm used to playing. Even though I really liked Q-Block way back when, I felt like the deck didn't play like Q-Block enough because I didn't have the flexibility in the mid game to heal enough. And there's also scenarios what Samurai Flea wanted me to mention, which is there's a card in the deck called Branching Paths that is generally used for armor gain or drawing cards. But it has a third effect that you can pick, which gives all of your minions 1 attack, and you can Branching Paths lets you just do one of those 3 things twice. So what a lot of people have been doing is they'll play Hadronox and cube it, or they'll Hadronox it and they'll naturalize it.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have a big board of things, and they don't run into your crap, so your crap sticks. And you have Branching Paths, and everything on your board basically has like a soft Savage Roar at that point. You just give everything +2 attack and hit him in the face. And that's basically like the deck's MO is block damage, block damage, block damage, block damage. Hadronox, I think it's time to kill you now. That's basically what this deck is MO is.
Yeah, I mean, like the Branching Paths choice on what to do with it, when to use it, is kind of tricky, especially if you draw out early game. Like late game, it's easier to make the decision because you can say, "Oh, definitely need to burst him down," or "No, I definitely need armor," and things like that. But if you get it early and you, like, I was playing against Jamie a minute ago before the show. We were testing out our decks because we had kind of wanted to try that. And I had a couple choices like, man, I just really need cards. I need options. Because remember, sometimes you have to use card draw, not because you need cards, because you need options. And that's how I use it. But yeah, it's a tricky card. And I think the deck is actually really tricky to play, especially in the mirror. The first day I played this deck, I went 11-3. Just so you guys know, like the first day I picked it up, 11-3, boom. The next day I went like 2-6 because the meta shifted. Because all of a sudden everybody's playing really fast stuff and they could deal with it. Like current rogues decks are really good against it. Paladin is actually better against it than I thought. You would think it could beat Paladin, but like Gen Paladin, so even Paladin is actually really strong against it because they can, because equality, consecrate, stuff like that. And those decks can build faster. Like the problem with taunt decks, like both Warrior taunt deck and by extension this Druid deck, is that you typically can do one thing on a turn until you get to your combo. So a lot of the point of the deck is to survive, and Warrior's the same way. But other decks like Odd Paladin and Even Paladin, they can do a bunch of stuff and they can have a lot of resources, and they can keep refilling the resources or do things really cheaply, and they can kind of get over I guess like this perceived hump of where they just have so much resource on the board, and you really don't have really great removal because you have swipe bloody freaking da. You can swipe my board, I'll just build it back up real fast, So it tends to, I think it struggles against those. But in Warlock, I think it's way favored to beat Warlock if you play it right. Because Warlocks, I've beaten Warlocks where they, Skull Minari, Doom Guards, cube the Doom Guards, and still won because Doom Guards can't get through taunts. Doom Guards, if they have to get through 3 or 4 taunts, it doesn't matter. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So there was one game, I don't remember how I did it, but I somehow got their a Void Lord on my side. I don't remember how I did it. Like I owned one of their Void Lords and then basically resummoned that when I killed Hadronox. Void Lords plus Primordial Drakes plus Lich King and all that stuff. Just
you would have
can't
had
beat
to have
that.
killed it with Frostmourne.
That's what it was. Yes, I killed it with a Frostmourne. So yeah, that's a good use of Frostmourne, especially in a Warlock mirror. But I mean, like, even if they drop Godfrey and kill your board, you just bring it back. And there's no Warlock has any kind of the resources to be able to get through 2 or 3 Hadronoxes. They just can't do it. In fact, most decks can't.
So underwhelming lately.
Well, I think that he's kind of a more so card. Like, if you want just deck clear Warlock, then he makes it more so. I don't think he in any way substitutes for any of the current removal that has been in Cube Lock, but I like him. I love hearing "this will be a mercy killing." That's just my favorite. I love that. It's that's pretty
Jamie,
fun.
Do you have any questions for Grant? Like about this particular deck list? Like, have you seen this on ladder?
Oh, I've seen it on ladder.
It's all over on ladder.
Yeah, I don't have too many questions because I've got this deck figured out a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
As we might come to discuss. It's the Spiteful Druids that are a bit of a problem.
Those are the problem ones, right?
They kind of play the same way that a Taunt Druid does, but just a little bit faster and with less, value. This deck is completely about value with that Hadronox and all that resummoning.
Yeah.
Well, shall we get into the Hunter deck then?
Yeah, let's just go to the Hunter deck because this deck is pretty, until you get to the late game, it's pretty straightforward, There's not a lot. I think the mirror is the only really tricky part, and honestly, the mirror is so dang situational. If I were to provide a one-size-fits-all type of solution for it, I think I'd be mistaken. Not to cop out or anything.
I think the basic idea behind that is just play your naturalizes, but don't play your ultimate infestations, and you can win out in fatigue.
Pretty much.
Got to be careful about those nourishes too.
Well, how you hang on to your naturalizes, like, you have to think about their naturalizes, because what they'll try to do is they'll try to get your Hadronox or your cube like pinned against a bunch of taunts and then naturalize your cube or naturalize your Hadronox to where you get no value out of it.
Yeah. Oh.
That's the play there, is you want to try and like hold those your naturalizes back and use them at the point in time when the opponent cannot get their max value out of it. If they are allowed to get their max value, you can't. It turns into like just a war of attrition. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And your only heavy hitter in there is Lich King, right? He's
really
the only one that goes above 6.
Yeah. And that's another thing is, like, if you play a bunch of, like, you play all your Serenite Chain Gangs and all of your Tar Creepers, and, and those are your main ones, and then you start Hadronoxing multiple times, but they kind of get their Lich King out first and then their Primordial Drakes, and then that's what they're Hadronoxing, you lose because you can't get through 8 health with your little guys. They just can't do it. So there's some longer term strategy you definitely have to think about in terms of, like, okay, I'm playing this Druid. Do I really want to actually play a Serenite Chain Gang? Because if I have a bunch of Serenites and they don't, I still lose, even if I get max value out of every Hadronox. You know what I mean? So it's definitely something to consider.
Yeah, Geist is a good tech card. Mad Gamer is saying in the chat that would be true if there wasn't so much Paladin that Geist gets no value. So you kind of have to be really careful. Geist is not the tech card it once was because it doesn't kill everything like it used to that was in the top meta. Now it's like only killing a couple things, so it's kind of fallen away. But let's get into Jamie's Hunter deck here called Cold Hearted Snake for the band reference.
Absolutely.
Look into his eyes.
All right, so this is a fun little Hunter deck. We got 2 Jewel to Macaw, 2 Explosive Trap, 1 Grievous Bite, 2 Venom Strike Trap, 2 Wandering Monster, 2 Animal Companion, 2 Bear Sharks, 2 Eagle Horn Bows, 2 Flanking Strikes, 1 Mad Hatter, 2 Spellbreakers, 2 Wing Blasts, 2 Carrion Drake, 2 Lesser Emerald Spellstone, 1 Deathstalker Rexar, Savannah Highmane, and 1 Lich King. So this deck is based around the idea that poison is good, and it feels good to use it. So in the first edition of this thing, I had a couple things here and there, like a freezing trap, and I believe it was Houndmaster Shaw. Is that the new one? The 3/6
he's
that gives other rush?
4 mana,
Ones that
2/6.
gives out the rush. And then isn't there one that gives your other minions poison?
Yeah, but he only gives
It's only 1 mana minions
one
when you
mana.
play them.
Oh, okay.
Toxmonger.
Yeah, so my Jewel Macaws would be able to get it, but nobody else.
Okay.
But this deck, it feels pretty good. It's very mid-rangey. It's a lot of what it has to do is figure out how you want to use your minions, because you got an activator in, where is it? Carrion Drake and Wing Blast, where you have to. Those were the cards that you had to trade to get the reduction or get the buff on your Carrion Drake. So a lot of the early game, you want to make sure that you have your Venom Strike Trap and Wandering Monster out, because those actually trigger off of each other. When it just like a Snake Trap used to with the Wandering Monster, you want to make sure that the early game is taken care of. Like I don't know how many Tar Creepers have been eaten by my Cold-Hearted Snake. I don't know what his name is. Emperor Cobra, is it?
Emperor Cobras, yeah.
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 I think so.
From the Venom Strike Trap?
Yeah. You
Or
get
from the Wandering Monster?
Well, you can get it from the Wandering Monster, and I laugh at druids when I do. So
I love Wandering Monster. It's such a great secret.
It really
Well
is.
It's
designed
really
card.
well done. Yeah.
oh yeah.
So cool.
They almost
Then
never
you're-
get bad stuff.
And then your bridge ends up being that Animal Companion and Bear Shark. It's a very good defensive option for decks that use a lot of spells with Bear Shark. I
Mhm.
haven't had a reason to take him out, really. And Animal Companion's always good.
Right.
What does Carrion Drake do?
Carrion Drake is the 3/7 that gains poison if a minion died that turn.
Okay.
He's a dragon.
It's a
Yes,
dragon.
I have it in
The
golden,
dragon.
actually.
It's cool.
So
it's cool art.
that's why I want to play this deck. I can play a golden Carrion Drake.
Oh,
That's a good
my
enough
entire
reason.
deck is almost golden.
Oh,
I'm getting there. Just gotta
Nice.
be a
Yeah,
little
the
bit more
goldens you're
1%.
seeing displayed
No.
is just Rob's collection. So
okay.
that's why
I was
it's not.
thinking it looks like a decently cheap deck. Like it doesn't look too expensive for somebody on a budget to make. Deathstalker Rexar and the Lich King, you might have at this point. I mean, the Lich King definitely.
Probably, yeah.
So other than that, everything else seems pretty cheap.
Jamie, how do we play this?
Yeah, we went over the early game there. The mid game definitely is a Carrion Drake. You want that Carrion Drake for the mid game if you're facing like Taunt Druid. And later game, you can either overswarm with the Emerald Spellstone if you had that from earlier on, or the ultimate thing that you want to make sure that you get, and I have been very sad to see him in the last 10 cards in my last 5 games, is Deathstalker Rexar. He is a minion generating powerhouse now that he's been fixed to take on the new beasts in Witchwood.
So what do you advise? Is it completely on matchup dependable, or is there something you're looking for when you use Rexar's hero power, like what you're going for?
I've actually found recently that a lot of it ends up being like these niche combinations. That one of the highest potential cards that I like finding is Cave Hydra, if anybody remembers that card.
Oh yeah, that's the one that
Is it-
damages
3 mana,
adjacent.
2/4 with a cleave.
Cleave. Yeah, that's the word I was looking for.
Yeah, you
that's
combine
helpful.
him with what is it, Vile Scale? The 2-mana 1/3 rush lifesteal.
You get
Vicious
lifesteal
Scalehide.
back for all of the damage across all 3 minions.
Vicious
Oh.
Scalehide gains
That's sweet.
6, 7, 8, 9
That's
health
sweet.
if it gets max damage. That's sick.
That's
Yeah,
And it has
awesome.
rush.
I've combining those two against an aggro paladin. Rexar costs
Sweet.
6, so 2 mana for the hero power of Rexar, plus only 5 mana for the Hydra and the 2 mana 1/3, and
Gross.
you can gain 9 HP and kill off 3 dudes.
Very good.
Vicious Scalehide has been one of the coolest cards they've printed. Like,
Oh yeah,
1/3 rush lifesteal minion is just insane. Like in a lot of decks, not just in Deathstalker XR. Like, I've been seeing him
Yeah,
in
I think
even Paladin. I've been seeing him like get
even
kings.
Shaman.
I've seen Shaman
think.
playing it. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Mhm.
cool.
yeah. Speaking of rush, though, another key card to combine with the Hydra is that assassinate guy, that 1/3 poisonous rush. If you're up against control decks, you might think about taking that because it may be 8 mana, but you get to play that on the next turn and use
Poisonous
5 mana for
rush.
like
Oh, the spider? The 5
yeah,
mana
the
spider?
spider, 5 mana spider, that guy.
Oh.
Ooh.
And if you're up against a value deck, you just like wipe out 3 dudes automatically there.
Wow.
Oh, because the poison cleaves as well. Ooh, that's dirty.
Yeah.
That sounds
Cave
fun.
Hydra
That's
is
7
super
mana,
valuable.
2, 6. Rush, lifesteal, poison.
I believe 8 mana because Cave Hydra is 3 and the dude is 5.
Oh, Cave Hydra, sorry. Not
Yeah, it wouldn't have
not the Vicious
lifesteal,
Scalehide. Yeah, I
Just
wouldn't
the
have the lifesteal.
poison.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey Jamie,
Right.
Mad Gamer asks, how does the deck fare with the other face hunters or even / odd paladins in the meta? Have you had much chance to play against those types of matchups?
Yeah, I've had plenty of the aggro paladins for sure, and that is highly trap dependent. You can see that I've teched the deck out a little more to deal with that, with the
Mhm.
explosive traps and the grievous bites. It's just a lot of dudes to deal with, and if you're not ahead in this deck, it's really hard to shift the balance back. Your balance cards are like explosive trap, and the Emerald Spellstone if you've been upgrading it, and then maybe Rexar.
Mm-hmm.
So when Jamie and I were talking a little bit in the pre-show, before even Eve was here, I was asking him a lot of questions, and he was saying how this deck seemed to be something that could be really good in maybe in more of a tournament setup where you're targeting something because of how the
Okay.
secrets fall. So, for example, when he's running up against spiteful decks, right? You worry about contesting the board. You can drop Grievous Bites. You can drop the explosive traps at all, and you can ban Paladin, and you can just put in freezing traps and Houndmaster Shaw to help you get some big threats in there and shut down when Spiteful drops. You kill the Spiteful, and then the big guy tries to attack, and then boom, he gets frozen, and he's never played again, unless it's a She Giant, in which case he has to discount a lot by setting up the board for it. And the odd inclusion of Mad Hatter got me thinking of maybe even considering dropping the Venom Stripe tracks for just snake traps,
Snake trap.
and
Mhm.
dropping the
That's
Bear
what I was
Shark
thinking too.
for a Cave Hydra, like Jamie is talking about how good it is with Deathstalker XR. Why don't we just put a Cave Hydra in there anyways, and we can start cleaving stuff and kind of maintaining the board while we're still there. The Eaglethorn Bow is a no-brainer, and the Flanking Strike is just so good. I feel like you can't not include it. And in some ways, the Spellbreakers are kind of like just a core piece to pretty much every deck right now. So you could kind of go plus or
Sure.
minus 1 on that. So you could like go down to 1 Spellbreaker. You could add the second one like Jamie has here.
Mm-hmm.
And the only reason I suggested this, the what's it called, the Snake Trap, is because it's so easily procced with your Wandering Monster, like he was saying. And
Yeah.
when you have the 1-mana minions, you just get so many of them, and you have to trade with the dudes. You can drop a Carrion Drake on the following turn, So you just trade a snake off, put a carrion drake down. You got a 3/7 with poisonous. Boom. And Jamie's saying that he didn't ever really struggle with getting that to be procced. And a lot of times the Jewel Macaws might give you more resources later on. So we have kind of the build here is like Jeweled Macaw gets you kind of transitional cards and sets up the board to contest against a 1/1, but doesn't really give you the Firefly trade. And then you just hope and pray you get your Grievous Bite and your Explosive Traps to deal with it with the aggro. But there are different approaches to this, and the Mad Hatter pairs really, really well with your Snake Traps. So those are just some ideas I had when I was looking at the deck, and Jamie wanted to save his response for the show. So, Jamie, you have the floor again.
Oh yeah, that's the reason why we had discussed a little bit longer about that was just because people were teching against Paladin, and those 1/1s are something that people are expecting from Paladin. So if you put it in Hunter, not going to do much. But if you are in that tournament scenario and you can ban certain things, definitely think about those snake traps. Those are really good for setting up those wing blasts and carrion drakes.
Eve, Grant, questions?
Have you thought about putting any hounds in it?
Unleash?
The rush
Unleash?
ones?
Yeah, Unleash. Have you thought about that?
Unleash the Hounds I had thought about, and if anything, it would have to replace like either Animal Companion or Bear Shark, because Bear Shark was mostly in there, so I was encountering a lot of Warlocks at the time, and what they'll have is like the Kobold Librarian left over or something if you didn't get your Jeweled Macaw, or if your Wandering Monster decided to wander in your deck instead. So yeah, you could definitely put some hounds in here for replacing the Bear Shark or something, because the Bear Shark's life is less good against things that are minion based, and much better against people using spells like mages and whatnot.
That makes sense.
This deck definitely looks to be like you're still tinkering with it. Would you say you're still tinkering with it, Jamie?
Yeah, there's definitely some tinkering to be done. I think in my current build, the Mad Hatters sadly are no longer in because there was so much tokens being put around the place. I couldn't guarantee my hats to be put on one thing.
Right.
I could even see just a Mad Bomber in the deck to get rid of those 1/1s. They're pesky, man.
Absolutely. You could. It's a good budget suggestion. Like, if you don't have Deathstalker Rexar, I mean, that's kind of a key card. But if you are having trouble with aggro Paladin and you don't have Deathstalker, put in a Mad Bomber. Why not? Give it a shot. Give it a bomb.
Oh man, my brain is just going crazy with all different options, because I feel like you can take this, and the deck has so many different cores, and in this particular build where we're at with the tinkering stages, feels like we have like 2 cores in the deck that can go either way, but both cores involve Lich King and High Mains. So it's like that's your top end, and you can add in a Lich King plus or minus, right? And then you can kind of build the core or the starting mid game and early game to transition to that stage almost any way you want.
I feel like it's very matchup dependent. It depends on what you're seeing on ladder for what you would switch out and switch in. Yeah.
You have so many different options with Hunter now.
Have you thought about subbing out the Grievous Bite for a Candle Bow?
Candle Shot?
Candle Shot?
Yeah, that's what I meant to say.
That usually I'd like to pair with Hunter's Mark a lot of the times. That's one of the big combos that Hunter does have. But if you're looking at just killing off 1/1s, it works too. Getting rid of Divine Shields, that works. So Candle Shot can be very effective in a deck. It's just I found myself drawing a lot of Candle Shot because I didn't take out any Eagle Horn bows. So I'd always have a weapon just sitting in my hand.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah, in the chat they're saying about Shaw, but I'm pretty sure we already covered that. Basically, Shaw is a major consideration depending on what you're saying. Plus or minus, your Grievous Bite is where Shaw goes.
Yeah.
I could see Shaw having some incredible late game potential after playing Deathstalker Rexar, getting some cool beasts that can just like do mean things to you or mean things to your minions.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and you'll even come across the interaction where was it Shaw that overrides Tundra Rhino?
No Tundra.
Or the other way
Rhino
around, but
Override
yeah.
It was
Shaw.
the other way around. Yeah,
You get
it was one of the two.
charge. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
I haven't actually encountered that, but it's there.
So Jamie, where did you start piloting this, and where are you now? As we kind of transition back into like just where we're at in the ladder and stuff to kind of close out the show.
Yeah, I had dropped out of Hearthstone for a little bit to, go play other things. But coming back to Witchwood was quite the experience, and that was I think it placed me at 18, and
Okay.
I'm all the way down to 10, 9-ish right now.
Okay.
Oh wow. Okay.
Playing mostly this.
Good work.
Yeah, playing mostly this. This was my climbing deck. It was a lot of Shutterwalk decks at the time, which had how long can this go on? So I had to find some way through Taunt. Then getting through Taunt ended up being just, you know what? Venom Strike Trap doesn't get used enough. And Carrion Drake seems really good. Why don't we put them together?
There you go.
I'm curious to know what the meta's like from like 18 to 10. Are you seeing a lot of like steady meta decks, or is it just like chaos? Who knows what you're going to see next?
A lot of times when you get to the closer to the rank floor, you'll see the people actually trying with Aggro Paladin a lot of the times. And
Right.
right now, Spiteful Druid right now and Taunt Druid. But I'll see a lot of rogues. A lot of rogues when I'm first hit
Yeah,
a
me
rank
too.
floor.
Rank
Yeah.
five, I
That's
saw
really
nothing
cool.
but rogues, man.
Yeah, that's true.
I would like to say that for a long time, Rogue has been kind of an intimidating class. It's been like, Miracle Rogue, the thing that's hard to understand, hard to pilot. And I think that means it's more approachable now, which is really neat.
You want to know what? My co-host for Velen's Chosen, or for Omnic Lab, Andres, who used to be on CoinConcy, just hit Legend with Aggro Odd Road like 2 days ago.
I tried piloting his deck. I asked him for the code, and he gave it to me. And that thing is like hyper.
It's seriously face, and that's it.
It's just a face
He's
deck.
like, if you get to turn 6 and the game's not over, you concede and just go to the next one.
This sounds
Yeah.
like my kind of deck. I'm gonna have to
It's
list them.
real fast. It's
you
real
see,
fast.
hey
I
there,
was-
stranger. You seem like my kind of deck.
He basically said all you do is you use your dagger because it has 2 attack to clear stuff, and then you just go face with everything. And I'm
I'm
like,
looking for a rogue to maybe take into UHL. So
that's
Hey, I
send me
have
your
the code
list.
for you, Eve.
I have
Zixo had a pretty similar deck that was running Captain Greenskin and a couple other little slightly
Pretty
higher
nutty.
end cards.
pretty
They're
nutty.
both they're both
it's
good.
The
I
one
think
with the hunch guys, or what are they called? The gang.
Hench Clan
that-
Thug.
Hench Clan
they
Thug.
both
Clan
have those
Thug.
cards. Those cards are busted. If you don't deal with them right away, you lose.
Those cards are
Hmm.
literally the best card for Rogue that's in the neutral set right now.
Hey, I want to
Mhm.
experiment with that card in Hunter, by the way.
I've
Oh, yeah,
been
that could
trying
be
to
good in
tinker
Hunter,
with it
too.
for Druid. I've been trying to if Spiteful wasn't so freaking oppressive, I feel like you could do like an odd or an even Druid
Yeah.
with Hench, or even
Yes.
odd Druid with Hench Clan, and it'd be fine. But there's just
Yep.
too many good things that Druid can do. Like the more I was like, well, what if I could do this with Druid? What if I could do this with Druid? And then like you just look on Twitter and there's like, or you can just play a bunch of freaking nasty tokens, and then Soul of the Forest, Savage Roar. It's like, well.
But
okay, that's just
honestly,
better.
it's better
So
for
many
Rogue
options.
because you get the hero power 2 turns, right?
Yeah,
Druid,
you
you,
can
would have
basically-
to hero power up and attack every turn to get the same kind of thing. So
Yeah.
you're spending 2
Yeah.
mana every turn. Rogue
2
only has
mana
to
is
do it
4
once.
Yeah,
damage.
it's
That's
pretty
four
good.
damage. Yeah.
But
just
I mean,
better.
Rogue can do it and then do it again the next turn without
Right.
paying the mana. So it's
Right.
technically better in their deck. But I understand what you mean when people are so focused on like these decks that are working, and you're like, can you try and like figure out something else? Because this could be cool too. Like, check
Yeah.
this out. Push people in that direction. Because I'm not good at making decks, but I wish people would think outside the box a bit more, and then I could work off of their genius and use what they've created. Because I do think they kind of get stuck in this is really good, let's make this deck the best it can be, instead of looking outside for more options and more different things the decks could be doing.
All
Yeah.
right, here's your homework. You're going to have to make a odd shaman that uses Doomhammer to power up a Hench Clan Thug. There you go.
Ooh, that is a spicy meatball.
I like it. Odd shaman.
With
Yeah,
You
'cause
know
even
what?
shaman.
You know what?
the
That could
current
work
speed.
in Wild. I think that could work. Because
Oh,
you
yeah, 'cause they have a
you
lot of removal.
You have way more
what's
weapons.
the 1 mana weapon?
The Jade?
No. Spirit
Spirit
Claws.
Claws.
It's not
Spirit
one
Claws
mana
and
anymore,
Hinge
is
It's
it?
not one
Clan.
mana. He
Oh, is it
got
not in?
nerfed.
Oh,
Unnerf it
It's not
now.
one
nerf it now, please.
Along with Yogg Saron.
Yeah.
Get on
He's
that.
even.
Yeah. Incidentally, even Shaman is a good deck, by the way.
Yeah, but Shudderwalk though.
Yeah.
Oh
Even
man,
Shaman's
Spirit
boring
Claws would be
comparatively.
so good with Hinge Clan, dude. Give Shamans a 1-mana weapon. Let's do it. That's how we're gonna do it.
Should we Never mind.
Yeah, let's
Sorry,
move
go ahead.
on. Let's move on. We can maybe like run an odd
We'll talk about that next week.
yeah.
Should
Now
we
the
got some
brain's
people to
going.
thank.
Hinge Clan Thug and Pirate Warrior.
Oh. Yeah.
A lot of people to
That's the
thank.
business.
Yeah, you'd have to go to Wild though, because you can get the Pirate and Nazoth or whatever his name is. Nazoth's first mate.
Nazoth's
1-1.
first mate, yeah. That's ridiculous.
Okay. Well,
All right.
Eve, Grant, do you guys want to talk about your ladders before we split, or you want to just close it out here?
Nothing super interesting. I just tried
Yeah.
everything, so let's just close it out.
Trying all
Alright.
the
He
things
tried everything.
at the rank 5 floor.
Everything.
Where are you at, Grant?
I'm at rank 4 right now.
Nice.
4 and change. Odd
Me too.
Paladin, I think, is one of the best decks in the format right now. Odd Paladin
Orange
is
just posted
the
a brand new
value.
list this morning.
I've been
Odd
trying
Paladin?
it out, Rob, and at rank floor, all I've been coming up against is Warlock. Like 5 games in a row, just
play Taunt Druid.
Warlock.
That'll stop them down.
I
Shut 'em
want
down.
Cold-hearted
to.
snake.
I do not.
It
want
does
I'm just
so
playing
well
Vexro
against
Mage
Warlock.
because I think I can go toe to toe with Paladin sometimes, and then if I queue into Warlock, I just win. Because
The only reason I played Druid was because they had
Mhm.
like a minion heavy with Spiteful, like that appealed to me. I do not want to play a Druid deck that's all taunt and all armor. That's
Double
the
Pyroblast
boringest thing I can
Mage.
think
Anyone?
of.
You don't use the armor that much. It's value.
Well,
They
if you
do
guys want
take a long
something
time.
fun, shoot me a
It's not
message.
tempo enough.
I've got just jump in Discord. I've got 2 different mage decks I've actually been playing. One runs Spiteful, runs 2 Pyroblasts. It runs Amalgam, Dragons, and Elementals, and it's a lot of fun. And the other
That
one
sounds fun.
is Vexcrow with a crap ton of burn and Alaneth, and that's it. It's really, really fast. But that's going to do it for the show, guys and gals of the interwebs. Thank you all for those of you who are able to show up to the podcast on the live stream. We will be posting this to YouTube, and we are still real close. I am currently pulling open our YouTube dashboard. We are at 105 subscribers, so we currently hit our goal, and we are Twitch affiliates as of last weekend, and I actually need to talk with Grant
Double whoop.
or Eve to set that up legally because there needs to be 2-factor authentication. There's all kinds of crazy financial things, so
Awesome.
we will slowly be rolling out the affiliate thing, and once we organize it, you bet your britches I'll be making an emote for you guys to be subs on. So we'll get you
Thank
some
you guys
cool
so much for
stuff.
like listening to our call for help, our call to action, and coming out and subbing and all of the stuff that you did. Thank you so much for doing that.
Most
Absolutely.
definitely. Thank you. We should thank some other people too.
Let's thank some people over at Patreon, shall we? We
Yeah.
have a few new people in the group. We have Alejandro B as actually a returning regular.
Yeah.
He told us
Thanks for
way
coming back.
that he couldn't support us for whatever reason, and which is of course his prerogative, and we respect and appreciate him coming back. So thank you for coming back, Alejandro.
Yeah, man.
And Jamie, thanks for coming on the show and supporting us for so long. It's been a pleasure to have you back.
Yes.
Good to be here.
Thanks for the cool
And-
hunter deck.
The Hunter
Yeah,
I'm
deck,
gonna
yeah.
definitely
Cool, it's
check
fun.
that out.
I'm currently
I have
checking our
to
iTunes reviews, so
do,
Eve, go ahead and take it real quick.
Yeah, I have to say an amazing shout out and thank you to Reganus Prime, who, after last week's show where Rob said, somebody get Eve Illyria Windrunner, gifted me Illyria Windrunner.
Gosh.
So I came into my gifts and was like, you have a gift. And it was Illyria Windrunner. So thank you so much, Reganus Prime, who wants to get me to play Hunter. And it worked. I immediately crafted a deck and went and played it, because how could I not? And she has really awesome, cool emotes too. So thank you so much. And Samurai Flea, who gifted me a couple packs, which was totally awesome and helpful for me getting my collection to a point where I could play all of the decks.
Now, if Grant and I can just convince you to start dusting your golden cards, you'll have even more.
Yeah.
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 And also, I don't know how to say the name out loud, but it's like SC24 ever. So
No, it's
StarCraft.
SC2 forever. StarCraft 2 forever.
Yeah, StarCraft 2 forever. He bought me the 3rd World of Warcraft Chronicle volume that just came out like
Oh,
Whoa.
snap.
a week ago.
What a kingly
Because-
gift.
Yeah, he's supporting my lore moments. And basically made a request. He said, all I want is for you to like read this on YouTube as like story time. And
Guess
so
what?
I started that. I wasn't going to start with the 3rd one because, you know, Eve, she has
Start
to
in the
start at
middle.
the beginning. I always have to start at the beginning. So I have started reading the World of Warcraft Chronicles story
first one.
time. Yes, number 1, volume 1, and there's
There's
2
a
episodes
playlist.
up on YouTube already. And whenever I have time and the kids are at school and I can start putting those out, I also managed to get the pictures that are in the book. Like I put them up so you can see what's inside as I'm reading it. And I hope those people who are interested in that kind of thing will enjoy that. We've been talking a lot of decks and cards and things, so I haven't had a chance to put any lore moments in the show, so I wanted to put something out there for the people who are always supporting me and encouraging me and say they like that part of the show. So I'm also working on Illidan. I'm gonna have him out pretty quick for you now, and then after that, Ridiculous Hat made a request for Gul'dan, who's like not my favorite character in World of Warcraft, but
But he's important.
His story is
He is.
long. His story is
and there's
real
2
long.
of them. There's 2
Yep.
Guldans.
And
There's
then there's the one
regular
that Illidan
timeline
has.
Gul'dan, and there's alternate timeline Gul'dan.
There's Legion Gul'dan.
And
yeah.
there's
Yeah.
the Skull of Gul'dan for Illidan. So there's technically
Yes.
3. One didn't
No.
do so hot, right?
But that was the first one. That was
Mhm.
after he
Oh,
died.
is that the first one?
That-
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's his goal.
His remnant.
Yeah, so that's what's in the pipeline.
Cool.
I like pipes. Let's keep going.
I like lines. So
This is so random.
We need to get out of here. Very
Oh.
clearly, we are not ready to close out the show, but we need to. Last thing up here on the list is the website promotion. If you guys want to find us, go to velenchosen.com/links. I actually just created a archives page. You guys can go to the archives page and search for your favorite lore moments, lore episodes. We're still in the process of tagging them in the backlog. And I will also try to go to our lore or info page and link a hyperlink just to get you to the lore playlist
For the
that you've just started,
specific-
so that you
Oh,
can
yeah.
get to the YouTube page a little bit easier. And we'll be updating some of our links on YouTube as well this week. If you want to catch the YouTube
Yeah,
VODs.
Andrew is still on our YouTube links, Rob.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Goodness.
We have to put
Okay.
Grant in.
Yeah, we need to edit all this business. Sorry, guys. It's
But
been a
as-
crazy month. All right, let's
has.
close out the show too. If you guys want to email us, you can email us at velenchosenpodcast@gmail.com. If you want to find the Discord, it's discord.me/velenchosen. And you can just find all these links on the website. If you want to support us financially, we are still looking for some help. Help us supply us with some packs, with some pre-order money, with some little bit more spending money for the Chronicle when the next one comes out, unless StarCraft 2 Forever just decides to take that upon himself every time it comes out, which we can't bank on, but we really appreciate.
nor should we.
Nor should we. You can go over to patreon.com/velenchosen. Jamie, where can people find you on the interwebs? I'm sure they'll find you on our Discord.
Oh yeah, they'll find me at my battle.net at pseudoping number 1537. Otherwise, I haven't really been going into any of my YouTube stuff, but I have been occasionally streaming. Unfortunately, not Hearthstone. That's at pseudoping27 at Twitch. You'll
What are you
find me
playing?
doing speed runs of A Link to the Past randomizer.
Wow.
Oh, boy.
That's cool.
That sounds fun.
Wow. So that's twitch.tv/
Pseudoping27.
Pseudoping27. All right, Grant, where can people
more
find
than
you?
one pseudoping on Twitch?
If you want to find me, go to Twitter at WatchmanHS on BattleNet. Watchman #1140. Still got some room in my friends list. Yeah, come by, say hi. Eve.
My Twitter is Loremaster Eve, and my BattleNet is now also Loremaster Eve. There's just no E between the T and the R because it would not fit. I had to shorten it because it was too long. Loremaster Eve 1974. Yeah, I just want to give a shout out to my opponent, Ridiculous Hat in UHL, and say thank you for the great game. Thank you for the encouragement. Thank you for beating my face into the ground.
Salute yourself.
And you get a hat. And you get a hat.
Rush the enemy.
And if you haven't yet, take a picture of yourself wearing plaid.
Send it to Bro.
Oh, yeah.
He appreciates it.
With the salute.
Yeah, that was fun. It was nice to see all the pictures of everybody wearing like different colors of plaid and saluting. What's
I
up?
almost forgot. Con Before the Storm has officially launched their Kickstarter, and they are at 80% of their goal already.
I saw that.
Holy man.
Head over to Con Before the Storm's website in the link. It is currently kickstarter.com/project/d20crit/con hyphen before hyphen the storm with all the hyphens in between with Con Before the Storm 2018 as the final tag. There is a link in the show notes for you, but they have a promotional video letting you know what they will do with everything. And not only do we have almost all of our goal, but we have a lot of things we are looking for with Con Before the Storm. And I say we because I will likely be a participant again at the Hearthstone or Overwatch panel. We haven't figured out the deets yet for when they do podcaster panels. If you want to do support for this, there are some amazing perks, and they're super cool. And on addition to that, we really want to have 2 separate rooms for the podcaster panels with better equipment, because last year Ro told us that he was just not happy with how some of the stuff was happening. He wanted to have it be smoother, be easier on the production team, and smoother for scheduling, and easier to identify, etc., etc. And also they have to pay money for the Hilton to rent out rooms. And let me tell you, it ain't cheap, not just to get a room, but to get a room to rent out for an event. That's even more on a high event. So anyways, go check it out. You can support that over at Kickstarter if you don't support it already. If you want to find me on Instagram, Twitter at the tag NotRob. I've been producing some things again with Omnic Lab next week. I'm going to promote it here, but next week we have our episode 101, which means we've done episode 100 this week of Omnic Lab. But the reason is next week is game night and game show night for Omnic Lab. We're doing a brand new huge game show. We're pulling in patrons from the Discord. We're going to have a live Discord and Twitch chat where people can interact and try to guess what the answers are. I'll be the host, and Andres will be doing a lot of the production, and there'll be sound questions, there'll be trivia questions, there'll be just a lot of fun, and we're really looking forward to producing this and then having the game night in the middle. We're having the game show in the middle of the game night, and the game nights always go for about 8 to 12 hours, so you don't have to be there for all of it, but it's all there. But guys, go check it out. Go follow us on Twitter and all that jazz. You'll be updated there. It's just omniclab.com. Thank you for joining us on 135. And remember, not all who wander are lost. We'll see you guys next week for some more Witchwood.
Witchwood. All right.
I can't help but not do that ever since I listened to Coin Conceit last week, because it's all it is Appa and Hat going Witchwood. And their microphone. The music is playing for the outro, so you guys can talk now.
That sounds super exciting, Rob. The game night game trivia thing, that sounds so cool.
Yeah, we're working on coming up with questions right now. So, we'll see how it goes.
Hopefully they're not too tough. Remember what happened to us when Andrew made them like way too
They
hard?
have to be pretty hard because we're giving away presents.
Yeah, but you gotta have, okay, just have some easy ones in there.
Oh, there will be.
Because then, if you get to the point where like nobody's getting the answers, you can like throw out some easy ones.
They're not as hard as the Hearthstone questions, to be honest. Like, you can pick out, play enough Overwatch. What is the sound?
Yeah.
Whose gun is this? Whose footsteps are these? You play a lot of Overwatch, you'll figure it out.
Whose footsteps are these?
We had an entire show on that. It's really fun.
I
Oh
remember
my
that
gosh.
show. That show was interesting.
lit.
And
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. You can actually really tell the difference.
I got one wrong on that show.
Did
That
I
was
miss it?
I think it was like Soldier 76 or something.
All right, well, that's the end of the outro music, guys. We can keep chatting, or you guys can split. But Jamie, thank you again, my dude.
Eve, tell me a story.
I need to go to bed. Tell me a story.
Oh, I've been
This is all
playing so
I'm
much
at.
World of
Thank you.
Warcraft to catch up to Illidan's story because it kind of ended, and then when